Yeah,
Is that a
that's
real
fine.
fart?
Yeah, dude. Of course.
Yo, this is going straight to the YouTube video. No editing.
Are you
Dude.
kidding me? Don't
Dude,
do that to me.
no, it's
Dude.
doing, it's going in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gamersgrove podcast, episode 22. Today is July 22nd. We are your hosts, Will, Austin, and Brady.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Hello, guys, and hello to all of you listening. If you're joining us for the first time, we are a gaming news podcast. We typically discuss any news that goes on week by week. We cover game industry things as well, more like the business side of things, so any business acquisitions or anything of that sort, we mention and explain how it can affect you, the consumer. And then outside of that, we just talk about anything that we find interesting. If any of that sounds like stuff that you like to hear or want to hear about, you're in the right place. Before we get started about any of the news, we're going to start off with things that we've been playing this week. So, Austin and Brady, what you been playing?
We've been playing the same thing. Played some Forest.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Forest.
The
Tell me,
Forest.
what is the Forest?
But-
You want to go ahead, Ready?
Austin, I've only played it once this one time, so
So-
Austin probably explained it better.
So The Forest is a survival game. It came out forever ago, back when like the survival sandbox games were all the rage.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it just
Before
recently
Battle Royale.
left early access. But yeah, you pretty much you're in a plane crash. You lose your kid by some cannibal guy coming and kidnapping him, and then you kind of just survive. And the goal is to get back your child and save him eventually.
Take your
But we've
son
never
back.
gotten that far. So
Cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, no, we haven't. We've been playing that game a lot, and we've never actually done any real progression in it.
no, not
That's
really.
okay.
Just kind of
Wait.
run around and hack away at crazy cannibals.
So there is an end, though? Like,
Yes, there is an
Yeah.
end game,
Oh.
especially now that it's out of early access. They actually added a couple endings, apparently.
oh, that's interesting.
One day we'll play them and do it all. But it's hard to not get caught up just building giant log wall fortresses.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that sounds fun. I have been playing Enter the Gungeon. Last week, Brady and I talked about how Enter the Gungeon had its new expansion come out, and I will correct myself. I called it what did I call it? Gungeons and Dragoons. It's actually Gungeons and Dragons, which I
Oh.
realize makes way more sense than what I said.
I like
How I didn't catch
Dragoons, though.
that.
Yeah.
Dragoons is a cool word, but this game is all about guns. It's not in a weird way, but yeah.
How would it be a weird way?
I don't know, man. The political atmosphere.
Oh, okay.
You know,
It's like a NRA mouthpiece.
it's not an NRA advertisement. It's a fun game where everything is a gun, like literally.
Yeah. No
So-
Russian spies.
That sounds
Yeah.
interesting, actually.
It's very interesting. It's also very hard. I've learned that by going back to playing it, it's still incredibly difficult. I managed to beat 2 bosses in one go. The way the game works is like it's a dungeon crawler. You clear out a floor, fight a boss, go to the next floor, rinse and repeat. Very much like The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
And there's like 5 floors in total. So I've gotten to the 2nd floor, and I've never gotten farther than that. It's very hard. But it's very fun. And this new expansion added a ton of new guns. I actually did get to check out some of those. That was pretty rad. It's a lot of like medieval, Dungeons and Dragons themed type stuff. I didn't get to check out any of the new bosses because I suck too much. But the guns were cool. But
You'll get there
it's a great
someday.
game. One day, I'll keep playing it, and I'll eventually get everything. But yeah, I think it was on sale yesterday. It may still be on sale. It's very much worth it, even at full price. So I highly recommend anybody check it out because it's a fantastic game. But yeah, all right then. I guess that covers everything for games this week. Pretty slow week as per usual. None of us have time to really play too many video games. But we do have time to talk about lots of news. So let's jump right into that. First thing on our list, Square Enix's new JRPG, which is Japanese RPG, Octopath Traveler, came out, I believe, a week or two ago, and it is selling so well that they ran out of stock twice for this game. Everybody wants to buy it. So it's kind of a weird concept to me that in 2018 things can still run out of stock. You know?
Yeah,
I figured it's
what
all
that means.
digital.
Physical copies, or because you could just like make more keys, right? Just generate more.
Yeah, I guess what they mean is like, you know, for people who want actual physical copies, they've run out of stock. And if that does seem to be what it is according to this article. And I can kind of forgive Square Enix for that just because most, you know, Steam exists, you know, things like we're in the digital age. Most people buy things digitally, so they may have
it's a Nintendo Switch exclusive though, so
oh,
Nintendo publishes it internationally.
Oh, well, that changes things, doesn't it?
This
Well,
isn't the first
Amazon-
time Nintendo has run out of stock on things.
Amazon, sold out of all of its copies too. So if Amazon runs out, then it's pretty much like there's nowhere else to get it.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, okay, that makes sense then, because, you know, the Switch has the cartridges, and I think you have, like, not all Switch games have a digital option, I think. So, or at least maybe this
you
one
have to
doesn't.
download it too.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so that makes sense, I guess. This is a thing, though, like, honestly, way back when Amiibos were first announced, Nintendo ran out of stock for them, like, all over the world very quickly. I think with either the Wii or the Wii U, people very rapidly, or locations very rapidly ran out of stock. It's a thing.
Another thing is those the SNES minis, Super Nintendo.
Oh
minis.
yeah,
those
that's a good point.
were sold out as well. They just always do this. I feel like it's just a PR stunt.
Makes it more people want it because they can't.
I mean,
have it.
honestly, that could be. I remember I thought about that when the Amiibos first came out. You know, is maybe just it works. I mean, people are talking about it, but not to discredit the game. The game is apparently fantastic. I have not yet played it. I would love to play it. I probably will buy it and play it at work at some time. But yeah, it's just it's a very, very solid, classic JRPG. And I guess, you know, people tend to think that, like, not many gamers outside of Japan really want these kind of games. But I feel time and time again that's been proven wrong, especially lately with, like, Nier Automata, Persona 5, to think of, you know, two off the top of my head. I'm sure there's plenty of others. The Final Fantasy games, you know.
Yakuza.
Yakuza. The JRPGs they're very popular. And, you know, maybe now that this has happened for, like, the millionth time, they'll start getting the attention they deserve. And we'll get more. Or at least maybe more will become more easily accessible outside of Japan. Which I'm all for. I'm always for more video games, you know.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong there. Well, you know, that's really it. Square Enix said sorry for running out of stock. Here's more, and then ran out again. And that's kind of where we are in the timeline right now. So we'll move on from that. Next thing we have on our list, Bethesda put out an announcement that I don't really know what prompted them to talk about this. I guess an interview or something.
Interview, yeah.
Okay, right, an interview.
They put an announcement out.
Yeah. That'd be weird.
Like,
So,
screw you, Obsidian.
Todd Howard said, you know, despite the success of Obsidian's Fallout New Vegas, the company is big enough now that they're not going to use external developers. So to give context to that, way back after Fallout 3 was initially released, whenever that was, a year later, Obsidian, another RPG company not at all really related to Bethesda, released Fallout New Vegas. What happened was, I guess Bethesda gave them permission to make a Fallout game, and so they did. And it was a good game. I think it's still the best Fallout game to exist. That's my opinion. Probably everyone thinks that's wrong, but whatever. but yeah, I mean, Bethesda's grown exponentially since then, so I guess Todd Howard's putting it to rest. If anybody was hoping for another Obsidian-esque sequel, or any company doing something with the IP, it's not going to happen. And that's nothing against any of those guys. It's just they would like to keep it in-house. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'll just say that quote he said, because he doesn't. Okay, so he says, "I would never say never, but now that our company's so big, it's always better to keep stuff internal. It became less likely, but I could never say never. I thought the Obsidian guys did a fabulous job." So he's not like saying it'll never happen, but it's most likely.
This is a quote from Tom Howard.
Yeah, this is
Todd Howard. I always do that. Sorry, Todd.
That's okay. He forgives you as long as you buy Skyrim.
Yeah, remastered.
Skyrim Alexa.
Yeah, but I think it's this games industry article kind of says it good how, they have 4 upcoming games they've announced and they're all huge projects. So they could definitely handle a lot of projects at once themselves because of their size now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very true. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice that Todd Howard's saying like, well, I'm not saying never. I'm just saying it's a 99.9% chance that it won't happen. That's kind of how I'm taking it.
I think he's being nice too. Because he says like they did a good job. I don't think he wants them to make it seem like everyone who's done something that's not in Bethesda is kind of like they're put off.
Yeah. He's definitely making sure like I it is keeping face, but I also think he is genuine about that. Like I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's a solid game. I'm sure that they weren't upset. It was like a commercial success. It did everything right. So he's just making sure that nobody's gonna take this as like, Obsidian screwed up and now we're never gonna let anybody touch this again.
But it could be with Fallout Shelter, how that the company that made that
that is
was
a good
like
point.
Behavior Interactive.
Yeah, I believe that's
Behavior.
Yeah, how their lawsuit going on with Warner Bros. And Bethesda because Behavior Bethesda claimed that they stole some code from Fallout Shelter and like reused it in Westworld.
Yeah, that's right.
Mobile game, same game. So this could be because of something like that.
New policy.
It could be, maybe, but also like that's because the way that worked was these guys are just former Bethesda employees, right? They just took the code with them, so they can't. I feel. Well, if that's their reaction to that, yeah, that's what it was, right? Behavior were guys that used to work at Bethesda. They worked on Fallout Shelter, and that's how they got the code, right?
Well, Behavior.
I think they're a separate company.
Behavior Digital. Yeah, they were a separate company that helped.
They outsourced to it.
Yeah, they did. The game was outsourced to them, and then they made the game essentially, so they had everything, and then they.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So blame Behavior, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
If you want to, I don't want to like directly point at anybody, but if you feel like somebody has to be at blame, maybe look into those guys.
Yeah. This is actually really interesting. I didn't know Behavior made Dead by Daylight.
I did not either.
Yeah, that's
actually a good game.
Yeah, it is, and it's really off topic, but I feel like that's really out of character for them then to steal like a code like that.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And they made Far Cry 3. Oh my damn, they made some big games.
They're a very legit company.
Yeah, anyways, they might be in some deep doo-doo now though.
Yeah, jeez. Well, sucks for them.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway.
Moving on. So, the quick summit to take away from that, Bethesda, no more outsourcing.
Yeah.
Next up, Microsoft has released its annual revenue for their games, I believe. It's a lot of money. It's $10 billion worth of money, which is up 14% from last year.
Yeah, just the fourth quarter though, because fourth quarter recently ended. So now everyone's releasing their fiscal year earnings and everything.
Right.
And they're up 10% or 17%. Wait,
14%.
Too many numbers.
14%
from last year. Which Honestly, I don't know why. I'm trying to think of why. Besides selling more games, but do you guys think they did anything like differently or?
I don't
Just more
honestly
game
like.
releases.
There's
Yeah.
it's a combination of like there's more games. There's been some pretty good games lately, but also just we've talked about this before, but gaming is slowly, not even slowly anymore, it is becoming a more norm thing. Like it's hard to meet anybody who hasn't played some video game or doesn't own a console, even if they just use it for Netflix. Like most people
Sure.
play video games nowadays in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So that could attribute to the fact Microsoft's making more money because more people play video games.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that's,
because it
that's
says
rad.
it says that their Xbox Live active users is up about 4 million. So last year, Q4, they had 53 million active, but this year they have 57 million active. So-
I found the right answer. Everything we said before was wrong. I have the real answer. It's Fortnite.
It's Fortnite.
Honestly,
Maybe.
I'm not even like I'm like
Wait,
half
is it-
kidding, but I'm also kind of not.
is
like,
it on Xbox?
Yeah, it's on everything.
Yeah, it's on every
Oh,
platform.
okay.
And there's
Oh, wow.
crossplay too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
There you
Yeah,
go. There's
honestly,
the real
honestly.
answer. Every company is up right now because of Fortnite.
Oh God, that's so.
Whatever.
Well,
Microsoft
I
just
mean,
recently had
sure.
something too. It was like a huge convention. It's basically how are we going to survive the next 30 years convention where they just like brainstorm
man.
stuff.
That's that's kind of interesting.
Like how
That
to
does
stay
sound really
relevant in the
interesting.
times, which is actually really a good idea.
Yeah, I bet. And I mean, Microsoft, like outside of gaming, they're a well-established brand. You have, I guarantee you have something that Microsoft, whether it be Windows or anything that you own that Microsoft, has made or something like that. So
Yeah.
and it even says that they're as a company as a whole, their fourth quarter revenue's up 17%. So
Yeah.
they're like between Windows 10 services and laptops and hardware, they have a lot of things that they do.
Yeah.
But something else just to compare to like the other gaming companies, the console ones, Nintendo's last fiscal year revenue was 9.7 billion and Sony's game and network services was 17.29 billion. So they're Sony's more, but I think Sony's games and network services is like more things bundled than just gaming. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
So the game, you said the game and network services, that's like, is that like their PlayStation Plus, or is that maybe a part of it?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, because PlayStation Plus. Oh god, that's a tongue twister. PlayStation Plus does like more things.
Yeah,
I think.
it's honestly a great, like, PlayStation. Oh god, that is a tongue twister. PlayStation Plus gives you like 5+ games a month, like, for free to play. They give all sorts of deals, and they're always like super discounted or just free games to play. It's a great deal. So I imagine most people who have a PlayStation also have that, which would explain.
Well,
partly.
yeah, and
So do you-
I think. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, do you get to keep those games after the month's up or whatever?
I'd have to ask Josh. I don't think you always do, but there might be certain instances where you do get to keep them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but
Brady.
I know. Yeah, no, I know they have like it's like a streaming service and like they have some other things. So I don't know if like their entertainment network, if that's like what they're saying, because they make other things and do other like streaming services. So
Yeah.
it could be more than just that, or more than just the games.
Yeah, that is true. So to really, I guess, narrow down what this means, if you're wondering, what this means is that every company, at least, for these big gaming titan companies, they're doing just fine. They're not going anywhere. And it also means that we're probably going to get a lot more games and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
If their profits keeps going up, they're going to keep on making games and then keep on making better games. So the future looks good in terms of video games from these guys, at least. All right, moving on. Valve has been on a banning purge, I guess. In the last week, they have banned 90,000 Steam accounts in what is their biggest anti-cheat purge to date. The funny thing about this is I don't know that Valve has really said anything about it themselves. Like, a lot of this stuff was taken from SteamDB, which is a Steam database. So yeah, it's mostly people speculating. Most likely their anti-cheat system found some sort of new cheating software and has just been banning everybody who has any sort of association with it, and which led to the death of 90,000 Steam accounts.
Rip.
Rip, but also it won't be missed.
No.
The reality of it is, with this stuff, like with when cheaters get banned, most of the time these guys just make a new account and buy the game again, which I'm sure Valve loves secretly.
Yeah, right.
But like, I don't know like how big of an actual effect this will have overall. I'm not too big on like the whole hackers versus video games and cheating softwares and whatnot, but there's always something new out there. These guys, as active as Valve and other companies are about making anti-cheat software, the people who are making them are just as active in making new cheat software.
Yep.
So it's kind of a never-ending war, but
yeah, and usually the reason they do it in like waves like this is because if they just insta ban you, sometimes they could reverse engineer that and figure out why they like your insta ban and work around that. Mm-hmm. So that's, I know like Blizzard and usually bans in like waves like this just because they don't want people to figure out how their anti-cheat really works.
Yeah, exactly. They are intentionally a little obscure about it so that to give the hackers and cheat software developers that much harder of a time figuring out how to get around it.
Yeah, but honestly though, 90,000 really isn't that much if you think about how many like people are on Steam.
Well, real
several
quick,
million.
It looks like the number's gone up. I'm looking at the SteamDB page. It looks like it's at 141,000 right now for VAC bans.
Oh,
so it's getting up there. Yeah.
And then game bans is at 1.4 million. So
wow,
man, that's a lot.
Yeah,
but it looks like,
but that's not a counts ban. That's just banned from a certain game.
Yeah. So you could be banned multiple times, probably.
Yeah.
Something.
Right. Yeah, to put that number in context, this is an article written in 2015, mind you, so the number's probably bigger. But in 2015, there were over 125 million active Steam accounts. Active.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
So this is
I'm
the
sure it's more
tiniest
now.
of dents. Yeah, exactly. Like as games, more and more people are on Steam, that number is probably like doubled by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, it's good that these guys got banned, but there is a good potential that there's just many, many, many more out there. But yeah, I think that's all there's to say about that.
Yeah.
Moving on to more Valve stuff, just on the negative side of the spectrum. Recently, an ex-Valve employee by the name of Rich Gelderreich put out a series of tweets talking about he didn't specifically say Valve, but it's very clear he was talking about Valve, talking about how it has some, to quote this article, ruthless internal politics at self-organizing companies, which is what Valve is. Valve is a company that quote unquote has no managers, everybody manages themselves, that kind of stuff. But according to this man, and this this seems like obvious to me, but I don't know, I'm not a business person. People make their own groups and posses and become the bosses and create this kind of crazy political turmoil, high school-esque type of situation within this company. Let's see.
Yeah,
it's a mess. Like I guess
It sounds like a mess.
Assuming it sounds thank you. It sounds like a mess. Assuming everything he says is true, it sounds like a horrible place to work if you're not on the in, quote unquote. I'm trying to find a relevant tweet to say.
What I found was interesting is they're talking about how Valve likes to leak their new employee manual, and they make it seem like it. Honestly, I went through and I read one that was leaked in 2012, and it seemed like the coolest place to work.
Oh yeah!
Like if I got handed that on my first day, I'd be so pumped.
Well, I mean, they said that they do that like as the PR move, and they just like laugh internally because of how bad it is, and like talk about like cool places to work. They even say that when you get hired, they like encourage you to bring your friends and stuff on. So essentially, they're gonna they just use you to get your to hire your friends, and if their friends are better, then in the long run they're gonna probably fire you because your friends are more talented. And
so don't hire.
It's just like crazy stuff like this. And they even say like they like it could be bad hiring your friends because they may fire you, but it could be good because then you could create your own group so you could survive and as a and make a group. There's some like this doesn't seem like, I don't know how they get things done in this things like this.
It sounds like complete chaos, like just living out in the Wild West, this gang versus that gang, and
really
make your own gang to survive, like it.
I mean, I feel apparently like it still could be an effective environment, just not necessarily for projects that are ongoing. Like a lot of projects I feel like could get axed in the process of that. But I mean, obviously they still get stuff done.
Well, apparently, well, do they?
Well,
I know. Well, that's another thing.
True.
You're right.
When's the last time a Valve released a game? Like,
I mean, not even a game, but like anything,
Yeah.
I'm sure they update things, but Source 2's been in the works for quite a while now, and
that's the real reason Half-Life 3 hasn't come out. They've just been fighting.
Yeah.
So a lot of a lot of like what it seems to revolve around is the bonuses. So I guess the way it works is employees at Valve make a salary or a wage, I'm not sure, and then they get bonuses depending on like the projects they do or how well they do. But here's a quote. I believe this is one of the tweets he's put out. He says, quote, "At a self-organizing company with bonuses, once you modify a project, you're on the hook for anything until it ships. The team will hold your bonus hostage and claim your work broke something. It's basically company legalized extortion." So I guess to kind of explain what he's saying is to say, going with the Valve spirit that you can jump onto any project at any time, depending on what you find interesting. So I'm a new hire. I go to work on Counter-Strike, and I, add a texture or a new model to the new Counter-Strike patch. Let's say they're working on a map. They can, if anything breaks and it doesn't do well, they could blame that on me and be like, well, you're not going to get your bonus because you broke this thing that we had to do. I think that's kind of the super layman's term of it.
Yeah, kind of makes sense.
I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying. So
yeah,
it's good sound.
And so that's why people are saying, you need to either buddy up with the big groups so that doesn't happen, or make your own group to fight back. Like, it sounds very complicated and just awful.
It seems like, since Valve doesn't have any hierarchy for, management, everyone just makes their own almost. Which, like, I can understand there being like a limited amount. Like there's be like teams and then like a team leader, then they report, up. Like that's pretty minimum. But like this, I don't know how, maybe at a different, like not a game company or like a something this might work. But I just can't believe like they get stuff done and go along like with with no structure at all. Like it seems absolutely crazy.
I just don't I don't know like next to nothing about business. I just don't understand how you can't have how you, or not that you can't, how you don't have any sort of leadership. I feel like there just has to be somebody to at least, like you said, at least to report to. Be like,
exactly.
Hey, I've done this, you know,
or like what should I do, or like
like what do they do?
like,
just sit
I
around
don't-
all day and do nothing?
yeah, it's like okay, like what if something needs balance? Like who sits down and decides that, you know, like we need
Somebody
to
has
balance this? Like,
to, right?
Well, they mentioned, or he mentioned barons, which I believe is just kind of someone who talks to corporate.
Right.
like someone like they're like
They're like a yard narc or something.
Yeah. God, it's like, are they even offices? It seems like, because I think they said it's, you know, an open work environment, which that's cool. Like I understand that, but some like Valve is a big company, and like I don't know. This is just really interesting of them trying to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna read one more tweet because you mentioned the barons. To give you just a little more context of what it's like working here. Quote: If you were a total outsider coming into the firm, your best bet is to buddy up with a baron and or their friends and just make their lives easier. Be a machine and get shit done for a while. Your goal should be to rapidly up your purge immunity before the next firing cycle.
Sounds rough.
Oh God! So
This is all
So make
allegedly
some-
too. We really need to stress
Yeah.
that it's allegedly this way.
This is
Yeah.
this is coming
Probably-
from one guy.
Yeah,
But they have some. They said that Glassdoor on that website that there's some people that say things similar to what
Yeah.
he's saying, or Rich is saying. So I mean, I like in this is the former Valve economist. I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Yanis Varoufakis. Which he's like big shot economist. He's like the economist for Greece right now. But he says bonuses are a major part of Valve's employee compensation, and there's a quote: "Payment mechanism is to a very large extent bonus based, so the contracts usually have minimum pay segmented in them, which is more or less established by tradition. And then the interesting part in this contract is how much is left a peer review process, which is very complicated, involves various layers of mutual assessment." So I mean, he's pretty much, you know, I think it's just a backup of what Rich is kind of saying with some things. Not necessarily on the topic we were just talking about, but just you know, verify some things he's saying. But yeah, I think it's anarchy over there.
Yeah,
It sounds like complete chaos.
And so Valve just we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but they bought the studio Campo Santo. And
Yeah.
I feel bad for them. Like, they're probably like, hell yeah, like Valve's about to buy us, and they get there and it's like papers flying, like, oh my,
Like, oh yeah, you're
like,
actually
people, like,
fired.
fighting for
Sorry.
their jobs. Yeah, and I think he even said something like that with like acquisitions or something. Let me try and I'm gonna find it because I think.
Well, the thing about Campo Santos, while you look that up, I think they're not. Are they? They got relocated to Valve, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they are
they're-
still their own company. So I guess like
Okay, sure.
it's a little different of like how Rich is saying, if you're coming in as an outsider, like buddy up. These guys, you know, to go with the image we've created, these guys already have their own gang within each other, you know. So
I think only two
maybe-
people worked there or something, didn't it? It was like super small.
God, you're right. Yeah, I think it is only two. So maybe their gang's a little small, so they might still be in trouble. But can you imagine? Like, I feel because they're not just employees, they are still a company. It'd be a lot more risky to mess with them or fire them. Can you just imagine like the controversy it would stir? If, like, oh, the two founders of Campo Santos got fired from Valve. You know, I feel like that'd be crazy.
I mean, I think it would, but I don't
think it
know.
would-
At this
it
point,
wouldn't
like, I
stop
feel
them?
like I'm expecting it. Like,
I could see like a severance package and a contract saying don't talk about it.
I mean, sure.
That's the problem too. See, this is why I whether he's being totally honest or stretching the truth or completely lying, I give major props to Rich for saying any of this, because blacklisting is a very serious thing that does happen in the industry, like a lot, you know. And I'm sure this is just kind of with many, you know, companies and things, not just games, but like, you know, other companies might see like, oh, you know, Rich, you badmouthed Valve, and even though you didn't say Valve's name, it was very clear you're talking about them, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to hire you. You know, or even like, you know, any company that's looking to hire this guy calls up Valve and Valve just goes, yeah, he sucks, you know.
He's
because,
disgruntled.
like, he said
That's why he was saying all those things.
Yeah, they can make up stuff because, you know, he tried to come up and speak the truth. So it takes a lot of guts to do something like this, especially, you know, especially so with something like the game industry, where most of the people who work in it are very passion driven, you know, doing this because they love it kind of people. To risk getting blacklisted from the industry, like that would be soul crushing for some people, you know.
I mean, they may have like some non-compete clause too. I know that's a thing.
To protect from that.
Well, no, the blacklist. So like saying you work for us, you can't work for anyone else for this many years. Like, you know, even if you quit, kind of thing. I don't know how big it is in, you know, video game, but I know some, you know, other industries that's a thing.
Oh, here's a tweet he actually said about blacklisting that I will also read real quick. Quote: "Talking like this, so frankly in public does ruffle corporate feathers. The insiders assume there's an unspoken agreement that abuse or misdeeds can take place and the employees won't talk or compare notes. If the employees talk, they get blacklisted." But to continue that, but blacklisting only works if you are dependent on the employment system. Blacklisting can backfire because smaller companies are formed by those who became tired and disillusioned with the corporate employment system. So I guess what he's saying there is that it can and does happen, but that's also kind of why indies exist.
Yeah.
You know, people get fed up with this kind of crap and they leave and make their own company. And, you know, indies are definitely more difficult, but it is in this day and age, it is a viable way to go. So at least, you know, they do have a backup. It's not like if you get blacklisted, you're doomed and can never make a video game again. It's just, you probably couldn't go working for any of the big titans of the industry.
Yeah.
You're not going to make a fat salary, basically, anymore.
Yeah.
Unless your game does good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wonder if this is just like, because I know Valve has different, you know, they're not just video games. They have Steam and, you know, other things. I wonder if it's like, if there's certain aspects of Valve or certain parts of Valve that are like this, or just all of Valve in general is just chaos.
Yeah,
because I like to think that it's just the video game side, and, you know, like Steam is kind of like has their self together, and, you know, maybe some things like that, because
I feel like it has to. You know,
yeah, like
with the size of it.
I don't know. This is like it's almost like disappointing. Like I really liked Valve and I looked up to them and stuff, but after things like this, it's, you know, I mean, you know, I'm not going to quit using Steam because, you know, they have the market, and I'm not going to stop playing their games because they make good games. But it's like, you know, when you have an actor, you know, that does something not good, and it's like, you know, I like their movies, but I don't know if I'll stop watching their movies, but, you know, I don't like them anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah, so, it definitely like kind of has there's a word for this, but I'm just gonna butcher
put a bad
taste
in my mouth.
Yeah, it puts a bad taste in the mouth. It kind of breaks the enchantment that of like, you know, Valve being the glorious company that it is. You know, it's like, well, maybe they are just another kind of scummy, money grubby company like all the rest.
He did leave the company back in 2014, so things may be slightly different now. That is 4 years, you know. So
yeah, maybe.
But I feel like if something like if it's that ingrained in everyone, I don't think it's going to change that much in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, I thought about that. I was like, how, if they were to change, like, I feel like that'd be so hard that, you know, all these people just like this, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, you're a manager, like, you do this. I could see people almost like rebelling or not liking, you know, that, because maybe they actually, you know, they went to Valve because of the reason of, you know, having open and everything. So I think it'd be really hard for them to change if they do.
Yeah.
Want to.
It's an interesting thing that's like, we probably will never know the actual truth unless we ourselves go to work there, because, you know,
or more people leak.
Yeah. Assuming Rich is, this is all true. If you were to ask somebody who's in one of these, you know, circles or these gangs, you ask them about the company, they're probably like, oh, it's great. You know, I love working here, blah, 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 this and that, you know, so two sides of the coin. I don't know. I definitely don't think like he's lying about this, especially
I don't think he
because
is.
Like the article we're looking at is a PC Gamer article, and they did their research of like looking into Glassdoor reviews and just
like other
people who've spoken out.
And I mean, they've also fired like other high profile people, like that economist guy, but they've hired like some other like microchip developer, and it's like they've made their rounds with people. So
yeah, exactly. So Valve, come on, man. Gabe, step in there. Get everybody to be friends again and make video games again. Let's all be happy. Excuse me. Moving on. There's a lot of bummer news. Let's jump on to the next thing. NetEase, which we have mentioned before. I don't exactly remember the context, but we have talked about that before.
They invested in Bungie.
Yeah.
Right.
A while back.
So NetEase has now bought a minority stake in Jumpship. What is Jumpship? Tell me.
Well, I mean, they're an indie company.
Mm-hmm.
It was created by the ex-CEO of Playdead, and Playdead made the game Limbo and Inside.
Oh, okay.
And Limbo's a good game, well received.
Inside was as well, actually. They're both pretty good games.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Sure.
And yeah, NetEase. Well, Jumpship. Yeah, it's created by that guy. They have one game coming out called Somerville. It's not out yet. It's still in development. And that's it.
Yep, that's it. I don't think they've shown any gameplay or anything for it.
No, just teaser trailers and stuff. But it must be a good game because NetEase, who's essentially a competitor to Tencent, bought a minority stake in them, and they haven't said why. It's probably obviously to get into the Chinese market, right? And they might, they'll probably publish it there. But yeah, I don't honestly. I think it's just to get their hands in some up and coming developers to compete and to get more money in China.
Yep,
because
that's a huge market.
I don't know how it is in China. I actually never looked into this. I never really thought about it. But I know with like movies, you have to have like certain criteria to publish the movie or show the movie in China, release it in China.
You mean like political and like law barriers?
Well, law barriers, but things like you have to have a certain amount of like Chinese actors. You have to have it shot in a certain amount of Chinese or like locations, kind of things like that. I never really thought of there's any requirements like that for video games, but I don't know. This could be for that reason. Maybe they Jumpship wants their game in China, and so they accepted this for that reason for future.
Yeah, so according to this quote from Jumpship's CEO, Dino Patty, quote, "We have a certain vision with Jumpship and Somerville that, if fulfilled, should go beyond cultures and talk to us as human beings. Adding China would obviously be a huge deal in terms of sheer reach." He also said that releasing games in the Chinese market has been a long-standing goal for them, even when he was at Playdead. So it's basically sounds like it's something he's always wanted to do, and now he's got the opportunity to do so.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Good for him. Yeah.
So I wonder if NetEase reached out to him or if it was vice versa. They reached out to NetEase.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. It doesn't. Pouring over this article, it doesn't seem to say anything about that anywhere.
I feel like probably the latter.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if anything, it's the latter. He reached out to him.
You wonder if like Tencent, like he reached out to Tencent or anything at all, or like maybe one of them give a better deal than the other or something, like.
Yeah. Well, either way, this pretty much like guarantees his game is going to be in China.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
for him.
Definitely. There's a lot of people in China that use phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And that buying a minority stake, that extra money could fund future projects.
Oh yeah, I think I'm sure that's another thing too.
Yeah. So he's set for a while thanks to this deal, which is good. Always good to hear. Next up, we have No Man's Sky Next, the multiplayer expansion, more or less. It comes out in 2 days on the 24th. we've talked about this before. We've
Yeah.
we've definitely talked about all the No Man's Sky drama and Sean Murray
Absolutely
being a potential compulsive
Yeah.
liar. But all that aside, this expansion, 2 years later, No Man's Sky did come out in August 2016. This expansion looks really good.
Yes,
I'm actually
it does.
kind of excited for the game again. Let me give you a rundown of some of the features it's going to have. It will have multiplayer, which is something we've wanted since day one. It has character customization. It has a third-person viewpoint. This one in particular is huge for specifically me and Brady because
FOV.
one of our biggest problems with the game was the game has a terrible FOV, which stands for field of view, basically how much to the sides you can see, I guess.
Yeah, how wide your vision is, essentially.
Right. And it was like looking through a cone, essentially.
Yeah, or a telescope, or
yeah, it was
it's like
real
zoomed
bad.
in.
But
Yeah.
but so having third person kind of fixes that, which is great. It also has updated visuals, unlimited base building. Before, I guess you were bound to only building on a single planet. You can now build on any planet and as many as you feel like. Increased base sizes. Commanding fleets of giant ships. I don't really know what that'll do. It says details are hazy, but you can send them out to do stuff, probably gather resources.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and multiplayer missions. It doesn't say what those will be yet, but those are all things that are going to be in this patch.
Something else real fast that's worth mentioning is I think you could only be in a party of 4, so you and 3 other people right now.
That's okay.
Not sure if it's
There's 4
confirmed
of
or
us.
not, but
At
that's
least
what everyone
there's
was saying.
multiplayer.
At least there's
Yeah.
multiplayer. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's for as much crap as I've given Sean Murray, and I'm not necessarily forgiving him. I still think he made a colossal train wreck of a game and is a terrible interviewee. He really stuck to it. And he's, put out, that this is like the second big expansion. He's done one other before, which added the base building stuff. So this is the second big expansion for No Man's Sky. They really stuck to it throughout. I imagine the abysmal numbers of players they must have had. They stuck through it. They've got this big update coming, and this might be the revival nobody ever thought this game was gonna get. It's pretty exciting.
It's a happy ending.
We'll see. It could still be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I think it'll... Honestly, though, I think just adding third person will make me play it again because that fixes the FOV. So I'm sure if something like that simple will make, someone come back, I think adding multiplayer and everything. What's
interesting to think about is how they've managed to stay in the news like this whole time and not falling out of relevancy.
It's Sean Murray. He's the new Peter Molyneux. He's an for the moment. He is an infamous name, and he will not be forgotten anytime soon. But yeah, you're right. He has they have stayed relevant throughout all of this.
They definitely are doing something right. Because people are still talking about it. Whether it's for good or bad, I don't know. But
most of it's been bad.
Yeah.
The reason they've been relevant is for bad reasons.
If this turns out good, and then you could see a huge spike in sales all of a sudden, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, well, I think definitely more people will buy it because of this now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna buy it if it turns out to be good. Because I haven't bought it. Because you guys told me it was crap, and I took your judgment. So
yeah, I tried to refund it. Everyone was refunding it, and Steam was just accepting them, even though they had more than 2 hours played or whatever. And so I was like, I'm gonna try and refund it. Screw this game.
I know. I tried to refund it too, and they rejected me as well.
Yeah.
I guess it works out because now I'm gonna play this game again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess No Man's Sky is a game I've always wanted to love. When they first started, like most people, I was super hyped for this game. The idea of it sounds great, and now it finally sounds like we're finally having all the things that were initially mentioned to be in
Yeah,
the game,
pretty
and
much.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
It looks good. I hope it is good.
Now, the thing I'm interested to see if like, let's say when the patch comes out, they'll have like 100,000 concurrent players. Like, if they'll keep that 100,000 for a good amount of time. Not I'm not expecting them to keep it forever, but like
How long
a couple
will it
months
last?
after launch.
Yeah, player retention is definitely a big thing. I think what'll most affect that will just be probably like the base building has existed for a while now, so it may be very good or very bad. I don't know, but like I think the base building and these multiplayer missions are going to most affect that. If those aren't that great to play, people are gonna get over it. Come back for a week, be like, "Oh, that was fun," and then never touch it again.
I think multiplayer will really be depending on how good that will be the determination for if people will stay or not. Because playing with friends is significantly like better, and a lot of people like that much more. Me included.
Playing with friends can make a terrible game great.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess what extent of multiplayer that'll be. I don't think it's going to be like how. I don't think it'll ever be like this, but I don't think it's going to be like how Sean Murray initially described it, of you're just flying around the galaxy and you just bump into somebody, implying that we're all on big servers. I don't think that'll ever be the case. That'd be super cool.
No. Yeah.
But
be like Eve or Elite Dangerous or something.
Yeah, like we have a giant base on a planet and then a whole gang of other guys pop up.
That'd be
that'd be
sick,
incredible.
Can you imagine?
Not going to happen, but that'd be incredible.
Not going to happen.
Like Space Rust.
Space Rust, oh man. Bunch of naked really dudes hop out of their spaceships.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. I will say that for as much as this game has burned me, I'm much more excited than I should be, honestly. I'm trying to be positive, and this actually looks very fun, and I'm very excited for it.
It does. I am too.
All right. Moving on. A game we have mentioned many, many months ago. Ingress, I believe it's called. I think I'm saying that
Egress.
right or wrong. Egress.
There's no
Thank
Egress.
you. Egress.
Yeah.
Egress.
Those are not.
Whatever.
Egress.
I put the N there. My bad. Whatever. Egress. God. The closed beta for this game we talked about starts in August. What this game is it's a Lovecraftian Dark Souls-like battle royale. If you don't know what Souls-like means, it's essentially very slow and kind of calculated combat. It's not just dive in and swing your sword or shoot your gun without thinking. It's planning out, timing, like when they swing and when to counter, so on and so forth. It's very fun, I guess, to put it simply. Watch some Dark Souls game, like PvP gameplay, and you'll get an idea for what this game's going to be like. But they also have their own trailer, so you can watch that instead. Which sounds like a better idea. But yeah, this game looks super cool. If anything, just because it's a very different take on the current battle royale scene, which has me very excited. I think I already signed up for the beta a long time ago.
Well,
I think like back when they initially announced it. Hopefully, that'd be great. Yeah. But it looks awesome. I love the idea of it. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I was talking to Brady earlier. We should also mention it's completely. I don't know if completely, but it's mostly melee.
Right, which is very Souls.
Yeah, it's very Souls-like. But I think that's going to be the exact reason why I may not like this game, because you say slow and calculated, I say clunky. It's the same reason I don't like The Witcher 3, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for that, but I don't know what it is about the controls, like the delay and whatnot. It just irritates me more than anything. And I get that it's meant to be that way.
But okay, I think there's a difference between what you're thinking of being, clunky, and what this will hopefully be, which is the slow and calculated.
Well, to back him up, though, I didn't like The Witcher 3 mechanics either.
Thank you, Brady.
No, I'm not crazy about it. I'm not even that big of a fan of The Witcher 3's mechanics, but I'm talking like from a Dark Souls perspective, which this, they're self-touting as Dark Souls is incredibly responsive. The combat is slow and it's more defensive and you got to think and time out your counters.
Yeah,
but when you want to do anything, it is very responsive. It's definitely not clunky.
I should. So what I'm worried is if it's gonna be like a between the two, and so it is gonna end up being clunky. Mm-hmm. I hope it is responsive. Like Dark Souls, it feels the same way, I think, like clunky, but you're right. It is responsive. When you want to do something, you do it right away.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can also really mess that up and it just ends up as a clunky mess. And so I'm really curious to see how this game turns out.
Hopefully great. I mean,
hopefully.
Don't even take our word for it. There is some alpha footage that shows a dude fighting another dude. And it looks
pretty slow.
Yeah.
It looks Dark Soulsy. It's pretty slow. It looks like there's some work to be done, but you can get the gist of what it's gonna be like, and that's it looks like something I'll be into. I hope.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, definitely. Try it.
I'm not gonna put down, talk shit about it unless I actually try the game. So
exactly. Just something to think about.
Here's to hoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's really all I was to say about it. So let's move on. The Cycle, a first-person shooter PvPvE game, is having closed beta signups. So first and foremost, let me explain that long acronym. The Cycle is a first-person shooter, player versus environment game. PvP, means, games like Fortnite, you fight other players. PvE is something like World of Warcraft. You fight big monsters and computer-controlled, basically any game that you're fighting computer-controlled non-player monsters. So this game is essentially a sci-fi, I guess like just a sci-fi game really, where you land on a planet, you have about 20 minutes to complete some contracts, which are essentially quests, and then that's it. And I guess whoever does the most wins. The interesting thing about this, though, from the gameplay look of it, it looks like Monster Hunter, which we've talked about. The game you guys played, I think it was Dauntless, right?
Yeah, Dauntless. I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
Dauntless was another Monster Hunter-esque type of game where essentially you and a group of people fight a really big monster, and it's a whole long ordeal to try and beat them. This kind of seems like that as well, but the PvP element of it has me a little excited because, say, me, Austin, and Brady are in a group and we have a contract to kill some monster, and we're in the middle of that, and another group of guys comes up and tries to essentially steal the kill from us, take us out, something.
That sounds fun to me.
It sounds fun. It also sounds very frustrating.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it's just it's an extra element to have to think about, which sounds pretty cool. If done right, it could go very wrong. But I don't think there's really any gameplay of it yet.
No,
there was like a trailer. It's just kind of like a cinematic thing, more like a teaser than anything. But you could check that out on their website. On YouTube.
And this is gonna be like an alpha, thing.
Yeah, the pre-alpha.
Yeah, it's not even
signups are closed alpha.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very far from being ready.
But
so don't expect it to be a perfect game.
Yeah, this was made by Jaeger Development, and they've made Spec Ops: The Line and Dreadnought. So they're both notable, games, especially Spec Ops: The Line.
Yeah, they're not rookies by any
means.
Yeah, they know what they're doing. It looks very good. There's really not much to say. Hopefully, we get into that alpha as well. That'd be pretty cool.
Except, I bet it's gonna be NDA'd.
Ooh, that would
closed alphas usually
make
are.
sense. That would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well,
but hope it's not.
If it's not, we'll talk about it. If it is, too bad. Holy moly, it's been an hour. Let's I think that pretty much wraps it up for our news.
Yeah, wait, we can talk about the next one though real fast. It's super easy.
Quick mention.
You're right. last one. Stardew Valley's official multiplayer patch, I guess, is releasing on August 1st. In the past, we talked about how somebody made a multiplayer mod for Stardew Valley, which was basically everybody playing the single player campaign just in one server together. There's now going to be a multiplayer patch. I'm pretty excited to see how it'll pan out, what it'll be. You know,
I mean, the betas. We were playing the beta though.
Oh, we were. I thought we were playing I'm so dumb.
Yeah, no, there's a mod that added it, so there could be like more people and stuff. There has been multiplayer mods, but the beta is what we've been playing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, take back everything I said. We were playing the beta before, and it was good.
Yeah,
there were
So
some
I'm sure this'll be
bugs.
good
Some
too.
places would crash and whatnot. So this is going to be a more polished version of what
Stable.
we've been playing. Yeah, more stable version.
Yeah, that's the way to put it. But yeah, that comes out August 1st, and I believe it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
Part of the game.
pick up Stardew Valley. I mean, even if you don't have friends, just pick up the game and have fun because it's a super awesome, chill game. All right, now that we've done that, let's move on to our closing segment, This Day in Games, where we're going to tell you about something that has happened on This Day in Games, just not always this year. I'll start it off.
Or this day.
Yeah, or this.
Or this, yeah. It's okay. Look, it's been
This
tough
week.
lately. We've expanded it out to be this week because we've been struggling to find a lot of things that even we know about. So we might have to change the title to This Week in Games.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'll start us off. On This Week in Games, July 21st, 2015, Knights of the Old Republic 2 came out on Mac and Linux.
Yeah. Those 10 people playing on Linux.
Represent. That's not much of an announcement, but like we said, this is kind of a bad week, but I also love Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Yep,
I can't believe it took Mac and Linux users this long to get the game.
Wait, 2015.
Yeah, that game came out in like 2006 or something.
10 years later.
So they're very late to the party. But it's a great game. It's kind of the reason I love. Oh God, no! It's the reason I love Obsidian because Obsidian made this one. Speaking of outsourcing, BioWare outsourced Knights of the Old Republic 2 to Obsidian.
Yo, Obsidian just getting all the dust, you know?
Yeah.
Getting those
All the
sequels.
outsourcing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fantastic RPG, and it takes place in the Star Wars universe, so that's a win-win for me. If you've never played this game, I highly recommend it. It's just super rad, and I think you can pick it up for like $10. It's got tons of mods. It's got everything you need. Yeah, it's a great game, and it came out on Mac yesterday.
Yesterday. No, 2015.
2015, but like yesterday,
Yeah,
2015.
July 23rd.
Gotcha.
Right, I worded that badly.
Yesterday, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
4 years ago. 3.
All right.
Wow.
Brady, what you got for us?
I haven't been good with numbers today, all right? Give me a break.
That's right.
Yeah, on this day in gaming, July 20th, 2011, Zombie Gunship came out. This was an iOS game, and I remember playing this on my, I don't know if it was my iPod Touch then, but I remember playing this when I was younger, and I enjoyed it when it first came out. Yeah, dry week.
Nice.
Try.
That's okay, man. It happens.
Yeah. Well, this week in games, back in 2011, on July 19th, Limbo came out for PlayStation 3. And I never played it on the PlayStation 3, but I played it on the PC, and it was a very good game. I actually just finished it recently. I had like 20 minutes left, and I never finished it, so I just hopped on and realized I could beat it in 20 minutes. So that was cool.
Easy.
Limbo's a super cool
Yeah,
game.
it is. We
It's
mentioned
very
it earlier.
spooky. Yeah, we did. The company
Yeah,
we talked
relevant,
about earlier.
actually.
It's also spooky. You're a kid in limbo. There's a big spider monster and other things.
Yeah,
It's very
you're looking for your
stylized.
sister who died,
Yeah.
and you think she's in limbo, but she may or may not be. You'll have to beat the game and find out.
It's not a very long game either. You
No,
can do it
it's
in like
not.
a couple hours.
Yeah, I think it took me like 3 hours total.
Yeah. It's a nice, quick, easy game. Very good.
things for
alright.
mobile even too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's where it
Oh
first
yeah, at this
was out
point,
on.
yeah, definitely.
Well, I think it was first out on there.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
I think
Yeah,
it was,
I think it was.
PC first.
I feel like
Really?
mobile devices couldn't handle it back in 2011.
Yeah.
Huh.
I
All
don't
right,
know.
we'll see.
Well, it's on mobile now, and that's all that matters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, wait. Yeah, it was released July 10th on Xbox Arcade. There we
There
you
go.
go.
So yeah, you guys right.
All right. That covers everything for today. Thank you all for tuning in. If you want to keep up with us in all of our many locations, they're in the description. I'm no longer allowed to say them. We're trying to be more active on everything. Like we've said, it's pretty, life is pretty busy for all of us right now. So we're doing what we can. We're not forgetting about the podcast and everything that we want to do, but there's just not a lot of time to do it. But we're working on it. We're hoping to pump out some articles when we can. We got some video series planned. Even just tweeting on the Twitter more often. Posting Facebook articles. We're working on it. So keep an eye out for all that. Yeah, I guess that's really it. If anything, we'll be back next Sunday for the next podcast. And you can also watch us live when we do that. Well, we do it on Twitch. I'm going to list this one. Twitch.tv/Gamersgrove. You can watch us.
Thin ice now.
That's allowed, I think. I think that's allowed.
No one's allowed. I'm going to give myself a pass on it. I'll ask my lawyer afterwards. But yeah, you can watch us do the podcast live and all of our goofs trying to get it started. And you can realize how long it takes us to actually start an episode.
Or end one.
Or end one. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you guys all for listening. We will see you next time.
Goodbye. Peace.
Just restart the stream. Restart the stream. No, dude.
I'll restart the stream. I'll restart the stream.
No, are you kidding me? Please
It takes
leave
2
leave
seconds. It takes 2 seconds.
Oh my god.